the Economic Balancing Act of Emerging Markets.
A house, I mean, it's basically a tied house right now, so that's kind of a coin toss.
Tell everybody else what's sensible because they've been totally irresponsible.
Circumstances and of course the COVID-19 pandemic.
This year we're on track to cut it by more than 1.7 trillion by the end of this fiscal year.
Exploring the high debt levels and economic challenges. 1. The story behind high debt levels. In the vibrant world of emerging markets, we see economies painted with colors of growth and immense potential. Beneath the surface, these markets are burdened by high levels of debt, creating a challenge that threatens to dim their growth and resilience. This isn't just a matter of numbers and interest rates. It's a complex interplay of ambition, vulnerability, and the pursuit of sustainable growth. Debt as a growth driver. Debt, when wisely used, can fuel growth, supporting projects in infrastructure, healthcare, and social welfare. Debt as a limiting factor. Excessive debt, however, restricts economic stability and fiscal flexibility, making growth more challenging. The policy crossroads. Emerging markets find themselves at a crossroads where borrowing is essential but fraught with risks. Fiscal constraints. Every dollar spent servicing debt is a dollar lost to education, healthcare, or poverty alleviation. The debt cycle. As debt rises, borrowing costs increase, creating a vicious cycle that limits future growth potential. 2. The economic and social implications of high debt. Economic constraints. The burden of high debt limits government spending in critical sectors, preventing investment in future growth. As fiscal policies tighten, countries must often prioritize debt over development. This restricts the potential for investments that improve citizens' lives. Social consequences. Austerity measures, implemented to reduce debt burdens, can lead to cuts in essential services, widening the gap between the rich and the poor. This lack of investment in social welfare intensifies inequality, hindering social cohesion and leaving vulnerable populations even more at risk. Fiscal space reduction. High debt reduces the fiscal space needed for impactful government spending. Austerity measures. These measures often result in cuts to social services, affecting healthcare and education. Rising inequality, limited investment due to debt servicing, worsens inequality and restricts social mobility. Social unrest, economic strain, and austerity lead to frustration and unrest among affected populations. Cycle of poverty. The impact of debt servicing on social programs can entrench poverty, limiting opportunities for growth. 3. External influences on debt vulnerabilities. Emerging markets are exposed to global financial conditions, from interest rate changes in developed economies to commodity price shifts. These external factors can trigger capital outflows, currency devaluation, and increase pressure on economies heavily reliant on foreign-denominated debt. Global financial conditions. Interest rate hikes in advanced economies can impact debt servicing costs in emerging markets. Commodity price dependence. Many emerging markets rely on commodity exports, making them vulnerable to price volatility. Capital flight risks. Any instability can lead to capital flight, destabilizing the economy further. Currency depreciation. Currency devaluation can increase foreign debt obligations, straining the economy. Delicate balancing act. Countries must navigate global economic shocks while attracting foreign investment. 4. Strategies to manage and mitigate high debt. Facing these challenges, emerging markets must implement strategies that promote short-term stability without sacrificing long-term growth. Approaches such as debt restructuring, concessional financing, and fostering investment-friendly environments are all critical. Structural reforms can improve economic resilience by diversifying economies and enhancing debt management practices. Debt restructuring. Restructuring debt terms can provide immediate fiscal relief and ease repayment pressures. Concessional financing. Low interest or conditional loans can support essential sectors without overburdening debt levels. Economic diversification. A diverse economy is more resilient to global economic shocks. Improved debt management, transparency, and robust debt management practices reduce default risks. Investment climate. Fostering a business-friendly environment attracts foreign investment, crucial for growth. 5. The role of international cooperation. Emerging markets' debt challenges are intertwined with the global economy, making international cooperation essential. Global financial institutions and developed economies have roles to play, from debt relief initiatives to financing projects that promote sustainable development. This global solidarity helps create a stable environment where emerging markets can thrive. Debt relief. Initiatives. Forgiving debt for the most strained economies allows for greater investment in essential services. Investment in sustainability. Funding. Sustainable development projects promotes long-term economic resilience. International policy standards. Adhering to global economic practices builds investor confidence and supports economic stability. Economic resilience programs. Tailored programs support emerging markets in strengthening their fiscal foundations. Global economic stability. Stability in emerging markets is crucial to the health of the global economy. 6. Domestic versus external debt. Strategic choices for emerging markets. Emerging markets face a crucial decision in balancing domestic and external debt strategies. This choice is more than a fiscal decision. It's a strategic approach deeply tied to economic sovereignty, growth potential, and the welfare of citizens. Domestic debt, raised within a country's borders, shields an economy from currency fluctuations, while external debt offers access to greater pools of capital, often at lower interest rates. Domestic debt stability. Borrowing in local currency reduces exposure to currency risk, as debt obligations remain stable, regardless of exchange rate fluctuations. Benefits of external debt. External debt allows countries to access significant capital at lower rates, ideal for large-scale infrastructure and development projects. Risks of currency depreciation. When a nation relies heavily on external debt, currency depreciation can inflate debt servicing costs, putting pressure on foreign reserves. Crowding out the private sector. Over-reliance on domestic debt can raise local interest rates, restricting private sector growth by making domestic borrowing more expensive. Balanced debt strategy. The most resilient economies blend domestic and external debt based on project needs and economic goals, minimizing risks while supporting growth. Emerging markets must adopt a prudent approach to debt, aligning borrowing practices with economic resilience. As these nations strive to develop, the balance between domestic and external debt plays a key role in their path to financial sustainability and growth.